Good morning, Miss Zhang. Thanks for coming. And maybe Christian, good morning. How are you today? I'm very good, thank you. So, the everyday expression, how are you today? If you ask this same question to somebody who is always calm and happy, this expression loses its meaning. You see, the words are really, that's why it's it's how to say, inexpressible, unspeakable happiness or calm or stillness. That's the topic of the day. So you are the ultimate expressed in the body mind. So as a human being, we have the potential to understand and experience and realize the ultimate through the body mind. Because our body mind is the expression of the ultimate. What does that mean? What does it mean by saying the ultimate or the absolute? So, to put in the words, the ultimate is the formless, shapeless, attributeless, pure being. Uh, there's no words can really describe it. Uh, Maybe the universal unified field with infinite potentials, with infinite power, with infinite information and matter and energy, but it's not manifested yet. So all the matter, all the energy, all the information unexpressed, but everything already contained it. So in Buddha, we use the word Dhammakaya, 法身, or 自性. Say the sixth Patrick of Huineng used the true self. The self, there's no boundary, there's no limitation. It's unmanifested, it's formless. You know, in Taoism we say Tao. And maybe in Christianity they use God, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, but unmanifested yet. So no matter from which school, from which religion, from which educational background, as a human being, we have this potential to realize this, the absolute. The absolute, to give you analogy, is that it's like a space, okay? Very, in our experience, the matching term or experience is the space. Space is formless, space is everywhere. So, for example, the space of this area, I put my hand in the space, and instantly there's a hand here. my hand kind of temporarily occupy the space, but it's not space itself. I can substitute or replace it with a cell phone again. And any form can temporarily occupy this space and manifest in its form. But space itself is like unmanifested. So in this analogy, the body-mind is manifested in the space, in the Dharmakaya, in the Absolute. Makes sense? And the Absolute is independent, not depending on any condition, on any, any factor, any causation, absolutely independent on nothing, not on anything. It's the true existence, the existence that relies on no other existence. So it's the primary Dharmakaya or 清净圆明体, the true self. And every other thing follows because of this. Every other phenomena or mental activity exists because of this primary absolute. Because every Buddha's teaching, every sage's teaching pointing to this understanding, at least literally or intellectually, and finally it should become your realization too. So it has, this absolute has two functions. Make you aware. So I would say awareness is the function of that the absolute. But the pure being, the primary function of pure being, or pure, how to say, the absolute is to be aware. But to be aware, you need an external stimuli. Like my image in front of you or on the screen is a stimuli in the pure being, then you're aware. So there's a little bit difference between the pure awareness and the absolute. The absolute need an object to show itself, and instantly it becomes your awareness. You're aware now because of the absolute. I just give you an maybe an experience too. In the deep sleep without dreams, while all the body and mind cease to function, it's a state of pure being. You are still there, but there's no external objects, there's no body mind vibrations, to manifest itself. It's like a pure light needs an object to shine on, to hit object to express itself. So if there's no object in the realm of light, into light, the light is not expressed, is not manifested, right? Makes sense? Once there's an external any object, then the light shines on it and become, manifested. It's also another analogy could be our pure being is like a conscious mirror. A conscious mirror without any contents yet, without any reflection yet. So you are more than four-dimensional conscious mirror. In a deep sleep, there's no external objects be reflected. So it seems to be blank or empty. But the conscious mirror is still there. Once we wake up, there's body mind, there's a physical activity, there's a mental activity, then the whole world jumps into, shown in this conscious mirror or consciousness or pure being, and voila, it came into being. Everything manifested. So from deep meditation, from Buddha's teaching, all pointing to this realization. In this perspective, in this understanding, everything you can see, hear, touch, smell, taste is a reflection in the conscious mirror or consciousness. All experience in physical, mental, emotional are the reflections of this more than four-dimensional awareness. So in this perspective, all the reflections in the conscious mirror or in the awareness itself has no true self, because the true self is the pure being. And or pure consciousness or pure conscious mirror itself, the consciousness itself is the true existence, is only existence actually. That's the only consciousness. That's why there's the school of only consciousness. Nothing exists else except this pure being. All the matter, energy, information manifested as reflections in the consciousness. And all the matter, energy, and information have to interbe with every other matter, information, and energy. Though they don't have a true self, meaning they have to be dependent on other existence. So this is a very powerful understanding. In this understanding, everything you see, touch, smell, taste, think is empty, or to be more extremely term unreal, is illusory. So in this perspective, you understand every sage's teaching, every Buddha's teaching. I will say Brahman is the pure being, while Atman is a realized being. It's a realized body-mind that is like a drop in ocean realize its entire ocean. But the Atman is the Brahman, and Brahman includes Atman. You see, and there's no confliction between Atman and Brahman, and there's no confliction between human body, human mind, and the Absolute. You see that relationship? There's in this perspective, Heart Sutra said, emptiness or the Absolute is the form, is the body-mind. That's why we say in this topic, the ultimate is the body-mind because it expresses itself in the body-mind. And the body-mind is arising from the Absolute. But this body-mind is just a temporary play of the Absolute. Everybody sees 110 billion people walking on planet Earth since the past 10,000 years. Okay, now we have 7 billion. Actually, if we calculate it like 10,000 years ago, roughly there's 110 billion people, human beings walking on planet Earth. So each mind, each body of these 110 billion is a manifestation of the Absolute, is a play, is a temporary play of the Absolute, of the pure being. And 110 billion human beings does not include all animals world, all insect world, all the virus world. You see, that's infinite numbers. And this infinity, we can understand this infinity on the planet Earth only. We have other sentient beings in other galaxies except planet Earth, right? You see this, if we include like total sum of the experience of the body, of the minds, of all the 10 billion human beings, all the infinite numbers of animals, the total sum of all these is only just one teeny tiny part of that pure being. This is how the pure being has no boundary at all, infinite big and infinite small. And as a human being, we have this potential to realize it. That's how precious we are. All the scientists, all the philosophers try to ponder on this. And as the again, the awareness, 觉 in Chinese, 觉本觉本心自信 is the primary function of that pure being or absolute or Dharmakaya, which is unmanifested, which is, formless, unlimited. Actually, exactly from this understanding, your awareness is unlimited, is unconditioned, is formless. While every condition, every form and shape, every understanding could be included. You see, every form is contained in the shape, in the space, while space itself is free from any form, right? That's the freedom. You enjoy every experience, you enjoy every relationship, but you're not, how to say, bounded, limited, conditioned by your experience, by your background, by your relationship. You are free. That's the realization. Actually, I recently interested in the sutra we call the Flower Garland Sutra, Huayan Jing. Flower Garland Sutra is the Prajna Paramita Sutra, is one of the Prajna Paramita Sutras. So Buddha's teaching is more focused on the wisdom. The wisdom is just a realization, understanding of the totality of the reality, of the absolute, and the relationship between the relative and absolute. That's the wisdom. We talked a little bit about it, a little bit. And Flower Garland Sutra say the 自性清净圆明体, the Dharmakaya, which is really pure, independent from any condition, from any realization. It's just unconditioned purity. And we are at this moment the expression of that unconditioned purity right at this moment. So does everybody else. Everybody includes animals, insects, vertebrates, birds, and so on. Everybody. Imagine you just a little bit think about it. You see, wow, this huge cosmic intelligence, pure intelligence, expressed itself through the cosmos. The cosmos, I will say the cosmos is the physical body, all the nature, birds, animal, planets, galaxies, is the physical manifestation of the pure being, the Dharmakaya, which is infinite big and infinite small. And you are that. It's and you are that. And this dialogue, this conversation expressed in a form, in a limited form, in a limited understanding, but we're trying to, pointing to this ultimate. That's the ultimate purpose of all the lives, not only you and me, all the scientists, all the philosophers, all the writers, filmmakers, and every activity, physically, mentally, naturally, is the expression of this pure being, of this Dharmakaya, of this Brahman. See how beautiful it is. It allows the freedom of play. It allows the freedom of every expression as a body, as a mind. But it totally independent from every individual, collective, body and mind, totally free from Einstein, from Hitler, from Trump. It doesn't matter who you are, you see. How do you how do you perceive it? But it allows you to perceive through your perspective, through an artist, by a sculpture, by the sutras even. Life is not counterintuitive. So life has different understanding. Normally life say this limited birth and death life, and everything happens in it. I will call this is life conditions. Life conditions. But life itself is the dancing of the absolute and the relative. Because human mind is so limited and conditioned, we try to grasp it, but most time in a very limited way and conditioned way, and even in a distorted way. Do you know why? When we are on this path towards realization, the realization is always there. The true being is always here and now. Only once you identify with a limited body, mind, and identify with a limited understanding, you collapse the infinite into finite existence. That's called suffering. Ego is a projected identity. It's illusory. So that's the really powerful teaching. You just remove what is not real. That's all the process. Ego is our illusion. It's illusory because it's not real. It's the reflections on the mirror itself. There's no true self in the ego. You feed the ego with your attention, energy, and time. So it seems to be existent, seems to exist. But once you realize it's all your illusion, then suddenly it collapses completely. That's called sudden enlightenment. You don't need any practice to be aware. You are the awareness itself. You're nothing you're aware of. That's the realization. If we are already whole, perfect, and complete, why do we need healing? If you identify with the whole, perfect, and complete, you don't need healing at all. Healing means you have some problems, physical, mental, or emotional. That's your illusion. I mean, that's the that's the illusion who hasn't realized the ultimate truth yet. as a practitioner of Chinese medicine, I know I'm doing a relative job to temporarily heal somebody, have less pain, have less anxiety. But in my deep heart, I know it's all their illusion. Because in the essence, everybody is complete, whole, healthy, and wealthy too. You are the absolute that's independent from no condition at all. The death is not, how to say, scary anymore because it just switched to a body and mind. In this understanding, you're beyond birth and death. If you want to play next life, switch to another body and mind and play. It's like a piece of wood. I don't have a piece of wood here. Look at your table made of wood. If wood itself is conscious, now it's a table. And if I chop down the wood into pieces and make another chair, wooden chair, the wood is always there. Now manifested in a table or chair. It's different forms, but it's always there as wood. So in the same way as pure awareness, you're always there. In this body mind or in that body mind, doesn't matter. Because you don't identify yourself as a body and as a mind, a specific body and a specific mind anymore. That's a freedom, total releasing. Wow, man, like that. Now I got it. Now I, I will act like Lao Tzu. I act slowly, gently, softly, and wisely. The body mind you play, you just to play in the world. The world is your play. It's a playground. Then you're not from this world. You're not of this world. That's a Jesus teaching, right? You're from heaven. You just now in the form of you know Dong or Zen or whatever, what name you are now. The mind is afraid. The limited mind is afraid of freedom because once you disidentify with a limited body of mind, the ego dies. The ego kind of don't want to die. Even the egoic death and birth is a relative, in a relative realm. Is not the absolute. The ego relies on you, is dependent on you, the pure awareness, to exist. Say again, in your deep sleep, where is the ego? In deep sleep, there's no ego. There's no activity of physical activity and mental activity. No, but you're perfect. You everybody likes to go to sleep. You see, actually, it's a balance. It's a balance between the absolute and the relative. Okay, let's end this session in the absolute, but manifested in the body mind. See you tomorrow.